Dear students, good morning. I once again welcome you to this lessons presentation. I am Dr. Gopala Sudarshanam, Senior Assistant Professor and Head Department of Commerce, Government Degree and PG College, Gajwel. Today, we will discuss about theories of distribution. This is one of the chapters from a subject called business statistics for BCom General and BCom Computer Application second year in semester 3. What is theories of distribution? In our business statistics, while learning about central tendency measures, dispersions, skewness, we came across with the different types of data and its series, like data in individual series, data with discrete series, and data in continuous series. The frequency distributions we see in the central tendency measures, dispersions, and skewness are called observed frequency distributions. If you are able to recollect that when the collected data is to be distributed without any frequencies, simply the variables are drawn with taking as x values, we were termed them as the data is in individual series. But if the data or occurrence of certain variable is repeated, then we have made with the help of Tolly-bars how many times it is repeated. For each type it repeats one. A vertical line was used to draw as a Tolly-bar, and they will be cumulated and recorded as f value. F indicates a frequency value. So that in such central tendency measures, dispersions, and skewness, when certain variable is repeated more than one time, that number of times it was repeated was indicated with f value called frequency. Similarly, if variable size is huge, then we would like to represent the data in a table in the form of continuous series. So that the frequency distribution that we used in such basic statistics like central tendency measures, wherein mean, median, mode, geometric mean, and harmonic mean were calculated, and graphical presentations were made to distribute the data into parts, into the class intervals. We made use of that frequency distribution. Those distributions, what we are made in above said areas, are based on exclusively observations and experimentation. Because why I am saying those distributions are made exclusively based on observations and experimentation? Because such variables and their corresponding frequencies are arrived by collection, tabulation, and classification of data. If you recollect it, when we write the data in individual series, just we draw a horizontal column, then we will put a x and write all variables. Let us take the students. Name of the students, we will like that A, B, C, D, E, like their marks: A 45, B 64, C 48, D. If again D got the same 45 marks of like A, still we write against the D 45, like that we will write. But when you go to the discrete series, what happens? In one column, we will take variables, that is X, maybe marks, imports, exports, etc., birth rate, death rate, like. And the second column we will take as F, frequency. how many times that particular variable is repeated. For example, as we continue the previous example, that there are 6 students A, B, C, D, E, F. Just you away. Then we will take marks. Marks are a variables X. We will indicate X. Out of the 6 students, the marks are like this: 48, 60, 50, 48, 60, 54. Then what we will write? First we write in first column of X all marks: 48, 60, 54, 50, like we will write. In next column F we will take, that is frequency. What is the frequency? How many times marks 48 was repeated? How many students got 48 marks? If 2 students got 48, then against the 48, the F will be indicated with 2. If only one student gets 54 marks, 54 against the 54, in the F column we will write 1. Likewise, we were arranged that we were very much learned during our previous classes as well as in the sessions where central tendency measures were discussed. However, if it is possible to devise or divide the population mathematically, it is known as theoretical distribution. As in the previous case, what we learned is the distribution of frequencies were made exclusively based on one's observation and experimentation mode. Then it is a statistical distribution. But when you come to here, if the distribution is made based on mathematical proportion, if we are able to divide a given population, given data mathematically, then it can be called as theoretical distribution or probability distribution. These are completely, that is, you may term it as a theoretical distribution or probability distribution, completely based on laws of probability. With that, we learned in our previous class what is probability, what are the different assumptions on probability, what are the components of probability, that were very much learned in our previous classes. So that now this probability distribution or theoretical distribution is completely depends on laws or principles or rules of probability. And this theoretical distribution is very much useful for statistical analysis of any business results, any quantitative information. This distribution, as we said, completely based on mathematical approach, very applied physics, applied science. We should make it as a rational. The distribution is considered as quite rational because it is compared with the previous distribution. Then what is probability distribution? The probability distribution is a type of theoretical frequency distribution. Simply, to distribute the frequencies to the variables, we have two things: based on the observation and experimental method, and based on the mathematical proportionate, mathematical formulas. So that if you make this frequency distribution based on one's experimentation and one's mere observation, then that is different distribution. But now make this frequency distribution based on mathematical approaches and rules and from theorems of mathematics, then it is called probability distribution. It is more scientific, more rational. It explains how outcomes are expected to vary or change. This is the important point we should remember. It explains how the outcomes that are expected to vary or change. when you distribute the frequencies in our previous case, where frequencies are made based on observation and experimentation, we cannot just find any change of distribution. But in probability distribution theory, it completely identified how the change register, and the change, that is the listing of all the possible outcomes, can be recorded. For example, I can get you here a coin. If you toss it, for example, if you take 5 coins, otherwise 5, 1 rupee coin or 2 rupee coin or 5 rupee coin, you take, you toss them 5, isn't it? And if you want to know, otherwise a single coin you take, you toss it 5 times, how many times you may get head? You may get only 1 time head or 4 times tail, and you may get 2 heads, you may get 3 heads, you may get 4 heads, or even you may get 5 heads. Sometimes you may not get either head or tail. A center may fall or coin may disappear due to some uncertain, unexpected things happens. Experiment happens, so that the outcomes of your experiment can be listed and recorded scientifically under probability distribution. See, probably this theoretical distribution theory uses more in games of chances, like tossing the coin and dice you used to play, and play cards you use and to pick up a card. That all, those are called games of chance, in which we use this probability distribution. This probability distribution theory is based on 3 assumptions. That is, theoretical considerations means what theories, what assumptions, what postulates you are designing, preoccupying. So based on such consideration, the functioning and implementation of probability distribution is dependent. And subjective outcome, what outcome you are expecting. If you toss a coin, the expected outcome, the subjective outcome will be either head or tail. Similarly, if you throw a dice, the subjective outcome may be a 1 dot, 2 dot, 3 dot, 4 dot, 5 dots, or 6 dots. So that is based on it, this theory distribution can be used, and based on your experience and intuition. See, depending on these 3, the probability distribution theory can be formulated. Further, the probability distribution theory can be classified into 2 broad areas. One is discrete probability distribution, and second one is continuous probability distribution. Just it is a little close to the data distribution in your central tendency measures, dispersions, and even skewness also. Their data was arranged in 3 series, of course: individual series, discrete series, continuous series. But the appearance or the occurrences of frequencies can be seen only with discrete series and continuous series. Similarly, here also in probability distribution also, the theory can be categorized into discrete probability distribution and continuous probability distribution. So what is the difference between discrete probability distribution and continuous probability distribution? For example, in our previous case, central tendency measure, Elsting's, discrete frequencies are like the given variables x is very certain. For example, marks 40, 45, 50, 60, 65, 70, like this. But whereas in continuous series, what happens? The variable x will not be certain. It will be between the limits of lower value and upper value. For example, 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30, 30 to 40, like that. But here in theoretical distribution or probability distribution theory, discrete probability distribution and continuous probability distribution differentiate on one important point. Just look at the slide, you can find it. A discrete probability distribution is allowed to take on only limited number of values. Here, we will apply this discrete probability distribution to take on only limited number of variables. But whereas in continuous probability distribution, the variable under consideration is allowed to take on any value with a given range. Then again, discrete probability distribution. It is further categorized into two types, which is applied to limited number of values. That is the discrete probability distribution, as we learned from the previous slide, that it is applied to limited number of values. So that can be further categorized into two distributions: binomial distribution and Poisson distribution. But whereas continuous distribution or continuous probability distribution, it is only one normal distribution. So if we broadly want to summarize the probability distribution theory or theoretical distribution theory, there are three types. Number one is binomial distribution. Number two is Poisson distribution. Number three is normal distribution. But to have more clarity, remember binomial distribution and Poisson distribution, as previous slide, can be called as discrete probability distribution, and normal distribution is called continuous distribution. Then what is binomial distribution? That we will learn today. The binomial distribution is very widely used theory of probability distribution. It is also known as Bernoulli distribution. Bernoulli is a renowned Swiss mathematician. He has proposed this theory. Hence, it is known as Bernoulli process or Bernoulli trial also. As per this theory, there are only two possible outcomes. That is the basic assumption of binomial distribution. Remember, student, if anybody asks you what is the crux of the binomial distribution theory, what is the essence, the key point that we can understand with the binomial distribution theory, is that as there are only two possible outcomes. For example, if you toss a coin, that may be either head or tail. If a student write an examination, you should either pass or fail. If you bring a person, if you call a person, that person must be either male or female. There is no possibility for third outcome, isn't it? So that whenever you apply the binomial distribution, remember that it will have only two possible outcomes, and this theory is proposed by the Swiss mathematician Bernoulli. Then you just look at this slide, some representation of binomial distribution theory with mathematical proportion, that those two outcomes can be indicated with P and Q simply. P is called success, Q is called failure. And always P and Q, P plus Q is equal to 1. What is P plus Q is equal to 1? When you toss a coin, if I ask you a question, whether it will be fall head or tail, 100% it will not be head, or 100% will not be tail. We will say 50% is head, 50% is tail. So 50 plus 50 is equal to 100. Half plus half is equal to 1. So that first 50 is success, second 50 is failure. Success is indicated with P, failure is indicated with Q. So that always the expected outcomes under binomial distribution theory are only two. Those are either success or failure. They can be indicated with P and Q, and always P plus Q is equal 1. Just look at the third point on the same slide. The probability of obtaining head, that is P, is equal 1 by 2 of 50%. And tail, that is Q, can be of 50%. Therefore, the binomial formula is P plus Q to the power of N. Then, just look at this slide. You can learn more clarity about binomial distribution. That is, if you take, in our previous case, only one kind I have taken. If I take two kinds, and two kinds are tossed simultaneously at a time, what will be the outcome? Tell me. If I ask you, if I take two kinds, two 1 rupee kinds, one side will be head, another side will be tail. Similarly, there will be no different objective, no different other sides. If I toss two kinds simultaneously, what happens? Just look at the slide. If I toss two kinds at a time or simultaneously, two may fall head, two may fall tail, or one may be head, another may be tail, or kind, number one kind, number two kind, I'm telling here. Two in the sense, first kind may be head and second can also be head, two heads. First can may be tail, second can also be tail, then two tails. Then first can may be head, second can may be tail. That is P and Q. Or first can may be tail and second can may be head. See, this is the result. Then if you write the outcome in our probability literature, from binomial distribution literature, as I said, for any experiment, there will be only two outcomes. Those outcomes are either success or failure. Success is indicated with P, failure is indicated with Q. In our case, if you take a coin and toss, indicated with H and tail will be indicated with T. Then let us take head as a P, tail is Q. In first attempt, both kinds fall head, P, P, then P square. If two kinds fall tail, then Q and Q, first kind Q, second kind Q. So that outcome will be, or probability will be Q square. If one is H, another one is T, then first one be P, second will be Q, and next one is maybe it is T or H, then Q or P. It will be indicated with 2PQ. This is the mathematical representation of binomial distribution. If you expand more, just like a plus B whole square formula that you learn in your lower level classes, P plus Q to the power of 2, like A plus B whole square is equal, plus Q whole square is equal. Just you remember, just substitute your A plus B whole square formula here. So how A plus B whole square is equal to A square plus B square plus 2AB, or A square plus 2AB plus B square, however you write. Similarly here too, P plus Q whole square is equal to P square plus Q square plus 2PQ. Or you may write like P square plus 2PQ or plus Q square. And if you, that is in case of two kinds. If it is three kinds, if you take four kinds, five kinds, 6 times and n kinds, then the representation is like this. X plus y to the power of 3. Means 3 kinds have taken. Then x cube plus 3x square into y plus 3xy square plus y cube. This is just similar to your mathematics classes that you learn in your school level and of course even plus 2 level also. Similarly, x plus y whole square whole to the power of 4 to the power of 4 to the power of 5, 6 and n. This is a slide which makes use of it. Then what are the assumptions of binomial distribution. Each trial has only two possible outcomes, as we learned. Outcome of a trial remains fixed over a time, and trials are statistically independent. How many, n number of trials you do, they are independent. They do not depend on any third element or each other or any unknown thing also. So the trials, whatever things you conduct, experiments you conduct, they're quite independent. And the outcome of trials remains fixed. It may be either P or Q. And those are two possible outcomes. And P and Q are termed as success and failure. Let us have illustrations on probability distribution theory. So this is the formula for calculation of probability. Px is equal to n factorial by n minus x factorial into x factorial into f to the power of p to the power of x into q to the power of n minus x. Then I can get you the simplification way here. The description of the formula. The capital P is known as probability. And I just get back the previous formula. The capital Px I have written now. There the capital P, that is called capital. The P is called probability. And N is total number of trials. How many trials we are going to conduct? How many times we are going to toss? Like, and then small q is probability of failure, as I said, indicated with small q, and small p is an indicator of success, probability of success, and x is expected outcome. What is the outcome you are expecting? So that px, that I said, the px is equal n factorial by n minus x factorial into x factorial into q to the power of x into q to the power of n minus x. So are you clear now? Capital P is probability, small p is success, small q is failure, small n is number of trials you do, and x is expected outcome. Let us take one problem. Just look at the problem. What is the probability of getting 1, 2, 3, and 4 heads when a coin is tossed? You take a coin, you toss it 4 times. Now tell me, what is the probability of getting 1, 2, 3, and 4 heads when you toss a coin 4 times? What is the probability of getting head 1 time? Only 1 head may come. If you toss 4 times, 2 heads may come, 3 heads may come, or 4 heads may come. Then what is its probability of getting them? Now let us look at the slide. Getting 1 head is good. Just take a formula. Carefully you look at this slide. Px is equal to n factorial by n minus x factorial into x factorial, or x factorial into n minus x factorial. However you write, no problem, the same, into q to the power of x into q to the power of n minus x. Just you substitute the value. Px, probability of x is what here? Expected outcome. What is your outcome? Head. Here, getting 1 head is expected outcome. So that P1 means getting 1 head is equal n factorial, number of trials. How many times to toss the coin? 4 times. Then 4 factorial by x factorial. Expected outcome, as I written in the bracket of the P1, is 1 factorial into n minus x. N is 4. 4 minus 1 factorial into q to the power of x. As I said, P is 1 by 2, Q is 1 by 2 always, because probability, the total of the outcome is 1. That is divided 2 parts, 50% success, 50% failure. So that the 50% 1 by 2 is P to the power of x. X is what? 1 again. Into Q again 1 by 2 to the power of n minus x 4 minus 1. Now P1 is equal to n factorial 4, that is 4 factorial. 4 into 3 into 2 into 1 by 1 factorial. 1 factorial is 1 into 1, 1 into 4 minus 1 factorial. 4 minus 1 is equal to what? 3. 3 factorial is equal to 3 into 2 into 1. Then 1 by 2 to the power of 1 is 1 by 2. 1 by 2 power of 3 is equal, just you write and come to the next step. P1 is equal, as I said, 4 into 3 into 2 into 1 is 24 by 1 into 3 into 2 into 1 is equal, how much it is? 6 into 1 by 2 and 1 by 8 is equal to 8 to the 16, 1 1 the 1, 1 by 16. Then, so 24 by 6 is equal to 4 into 1 by 6 is equal 4 into 1 by 16 is equal by 16. Then the probability of one head is equal 0.250. Therefore, the probability of getting one head is equal 0.250. Similarly, you go to the probability of getting two heads. The same way you apply Px or Pr, however you write. You may take it as X or R, but nothing wrong. Here I have taken P R or Px, both are same. Some teachers can indicate that with X or some are with R. So the same formula, n factorial by R factorial or X factorial into n minus R or n minus X factorial into p to the power of X or R into p to the power of n minus R or X, whatever you write. Just substitute the value. P2 is equal, what it is? N is 4, 4 factorial by 2 factorial into 4 factorial into 1 by 2. As I said, P is always 1 by 2, Q is 1 by 2. So here is getting a heads is 2, so that 1 by 2 is to the power of 2 into 1 by 2 to the power of n minus r means 4 minus 2. Then P2 is equal to 4 into 3 into 2 into 1 by 2 factor 2 into 1 into 4 minus 2 factorial. Again 4 minus 2 is 2, 2 into 1 into 1 by 2 to the power of 2 is equal to 1 by 4. Similarly, 1 by 2 to the power of 4 minus 2 means 2. So that 1 by 2 to the power of 2 is equal to again take 1 by 4. Then P2 is equal 24 by 4 into 1 by 16. 1 by 6 now, 1 by 4 into 1 by 4, that is 1 by 16. Then getting of two heads is equal 0.375. Therefore, the probability of getting two heads is equal 0.375. Similarly, probability of getting four heads. So even we can also calculate probability of getting what? 0 heads also we can do. Then the point here you must remember. So just you look at the getting 4 heads, say P4 is equal to n factorial by r factorial into n minus r factorial. Remember, don't get confused. R or x, whatever may be considered, both are same, into q to the power of r into q to the power of n minus r. Just you substitute the value. Here an interesting thing will come here. That is, I have said something I have written on the slide in the box. 1 by 2 to the power of 0 is equal to 1. This is a mathematical assumption. I can show you in the next slide. So carefully you observe the slide. The probability of getting 4 heads is 0.0625. And we can also calculate getting up 0 heads also. That is 0.0625 you will get here, isn't it? Then the most important point that must be remembered while dealing with the binomial distribution. That is, 1 factorial is always 1. 0 factorial is also always 1. And 1 by to the power of 0 is always 1. These 3 points or assumptions must be remembered. Then you can solve the binomial distribution series very easily. Remember that the assumptions of binomial distribution, there will be only 2 outcomes. Those are indicated with P and Q. Both are equal, and P is an indicator of success, Q is an indicator of failure, and maybe head or tail also. And as per this slide, 1 factorial is always 1, 0 factorial is always 1. Similarly, 1 by 2 to the power of 0 is always 1. Now, look at this slide. Here have get you 2 practice questions for you. Hope you can take them. Find the probability of getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 sets when 6 coins are tossed simultaneously. Similarly, another problem also I have given. Calculate binomial probability of getting 2, 4, 6 heads when 10 coins are tossed at a time. If you solve these 2 problems and go thoroughly with the previously illustrated problem, hope you will certainly be confident in solving the binomial distribution problem. Tomorrow we will again come with the concept, that is Poisson distribution. Thank you. We will see you in the next class.